I am working on getting a few things together for the baby. We are planning on having a home birth, and when you have a home birth, the midwife gives you like a list of things to gather, some towels, baby blankets, and then paper towels. I have like a shower curtain and a couple like sheets that aren't like that weren't expensive. So I just got new bedding on my bed. And so whenever you have a home birth, you put a sheet down and then a shower curtain and then another sheet down to kind of like protect your mattress. And I got some like really cheap sheets for that. I'll take this bedding off. And it's really nice because after you give birth, they can kind of like pull away the sheet that you gave birth on, the shower curtain, then you have like a fresh sheet to lay on after you have the baby. So I have that kind of stuff that I'm getting together. The midwife will bring a bunch of stuff, like anything needed. If there was an emergency, like she'll have oxygen and Pitocin if I would need that after giving birth, and I don't know, pads and just different things. But there's a few things I have to get together, and also I have a couple different like baby outfits here, but mostly just some like blankets and towels and paper towels, hydrogen peroxide, all the things on my list. I'm gonna just gather that. I've never had an early baby, but try to be prepared at least a couple weeks ahead because you just never know. I mean, things could definitely change. This is my 8th baby, and we've had the last couple at home, and so this isn't new to us, but I want to be ready just in case whenever this little one decides to show up. Now, we did not find out gender of this baby, and so we don't really have too many clothes. I usually do skin to skin for the first couple weeks after I have a baby, but I did get just a few little baby outfits. We actually got 2 different like outfits for a boy because we're very convinced it's a boy, and then this one little pink sleeper with a bow in case it's a girl. If you're new here, I have 7 kids. My first one's a girl, and the next 6 in a row were all boys, and so we're definitely expecting a boy, but you just never know. We do not know the gender, and so we'll see. So my daughter picked out a really cute little girl outfit and then this super sweet little boy outfit, and she has big plans. She wants to be the first one to know the gender. She's done this with, I think it was my 5th baby. She requested that, and so right after I had him, I just like put him right up on my chest, and then she was the one that like I flipped him over whenever she was right there, and then she announced to everyone that it was a boy. So she wants to do that again, and then she wants to take a picture to send out to like all the family members and people that are not here at the birth. And so she wanted one cute outfit for both boy or girl, and then she made a quilt, a boy quilt. I guess she's also convinced it's a boy that she wants to lay him on, and I don't know if she'll make a girl one or not in case it's a girl, but we do have a bow and a pink sleeper in case it's a girl. Then we have a couple onesies. I mean, I guess these could be gender neutral really, but let's be real, if it's a girl, we're definitely gonna get a bunch of girl clothes, I'm sure, since we haven't had a girl in so long. So anyway, I'm just kind of getting things gathered up today, putting it in here, and I'll leave this in my room. My midwife actually had a midwife appointment today, and she dropped off my birth supply bag as well, so I'm gonna put that next to this basket, have everything ready. And then the next thing I'm gonna work on throughout this week is making some freezer meals. We always are so blessed. We have so many family members and friends that will bring us meals after we have a baby, but I like to have a few things in the freezer because you just never know exactly what time it'll be when you have the baby. I am a typical labor overnight, baby overnight person. Almost all my babies are born around like 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'm sure that's when it'll be. But if it's at like a lunchtime or dinner time, I like to have something ready for the rest of my family. So I'm gonna make a few freezer meals to have on hand. And then I know that I'm sure we will have other meals brought to us. I try to lay really low for the first 2 weeks after giving birth. And so I'll be here in this bed, cuddling a newborn, nursing, just kind of doing all of those types of things right after I have a baby. And my mother-in-law and my mom usually split up the other kids and help with them right after I give birth. So me and my husband have a little time with the new baby, which is so nice. It's such a sweet time. I look forward to it every time. It's just my favorite. and I don't want to have to worry about food or anything, and so having a few meals prepared will be nice. But other than that, we just wait. Like I said, I've never gone early. I don't really go late either. I pretty much go right around my due date. So we'll see when this little one decides to come. So I'm gonna have all my things ready, have a few meals in the freezer, and of course I'll be sharing with you guys a birth story whenever that happens. But until then, we are gonna be ready for whenever this little one decides to come. Before heading into the kitchen to make some freezer meals, I wanted to take a quick break to tell you guys about today's video sponsor, Foreo. I have been loving the Foreo FAQ-202 LED face mask. It is perfect for me because it is so easy to use. It's wireless, so I can do it hands-free. I can wear it while I'm doing the dishes or folding clothes or nursing the baby. And it has 8 different wavelengths. It's ultra lightweight, and it has a unique flexi fit silicone molding to make it fit to any face shape. I love the way that my skin looks since using it. It really helps to boost collagen and reduce wrinkles and fine line, overall redness and dullness. My skin has felt so smooth, and I just love it because it's so simple to use. The FAQ-202 face mask is perfect for a busy mom like me because it fits perfectly into my skincare routine. So if you have been hearing a lot about LED face masks and wondering which one to get, look no further. This one will suit you so well. And since Valentine's Day is coming up, it's the perfect time to either treat yourself or someone special to the FAQ-202 LED face mask. Be sure to use my code 30oilyhouse to get 30% off. I have a link down in my description box below along with my code so you guys can check it out. All right, so as I said, I am working on some freezer meals. These are going to be a little bit different than some of the freezer meals that I've made in the past because I'm kind of more just prepping a few things. So I'm working on some whole grain pizza crust. I'm using some hard red wheat berries. I actually missed my Azure order last month with the move. I didn't get my order placed in time, and so my sister had some wheat berries that she said I could use. So I would typically be using a different type of berry, but these actually turned out just fine. Like the dough worked fine for this. So I'm making some pizza crust, and then I'm going to be making up some meatballs. I'm going to be making some soup, several different things. And they're going to be more, like I said, prepping. Like I'm making the pizza crust because my daughter loves to cook, and she's old enough now to cook. She'll be turning 13 right before this baby is born. And so she's very helpful and capable in the kitchen, and so I know that she'll be able to help with mealtime right after I have the baby. So I want things kind of prepped, but she loves making pizza, and so I'm going to make up the dough, and then I figured on the day that she wants to make that, she can defrost these and put the toppings on, and then all she has to do is bake them. Like I said, we are usually very blessed to have meals brought to us after we have a baby, but I like to be prepared with a few extra ones in the freezer because I don't like to have to do any cooking or anything right after I have a baby, and so I'm trying to stock the freezer with just a few more meals so that we are fully ready and prepared when this little one decides to arrive. The next thing I'm prepping here is I'm going to be making some orange chicken. This freezes really well, and then my husband or my daughter can just make up some rice to serve with this, and it'll be a really delicious meal. I can link this recipe for you guys down in the description box below, but basically I am just cutting up my chicken into little 1-inch hunks, and then I'm going to dread them through some flour with some seasonings and then an egg, and then fry them here in my cast iron skillet. And then I make a sauce. Instead of like soy sauce, I always like to use coconut aminos, just a little bit healthier. And then I'm gonna get some fresh orange juice squeezed and add in a few things. This makes a really easy meal to freeze. And then, like I said, we can serve it over some rice and maybe a little bit extra coconut aminos when it's time to serve this. Anytime I juice an orange, I always like to add the zest of the orange in too, just so I'm not wasting anything extra. And then the peels and the little bit of flesh that's left in there will go to our chickens, and they will eat the rest of it. No wasted food in this home. It's always a little bit weird when you get to the end of your pregnancy, trying to prepare and think through, and you can think all what you want and prepare all that you want, and it pretty much never goes as planned. I always am trying to think like, okay, if it's on this particular day, I'll call this person to watch the kids. If it's not during the nighttime, if it's overnight, then they'll be sleeping, so it won't even matter. We are planning a home birth, so I don't have to worry about finding someone to come for us to leave to go to the hospital. But, you know, if it's during the day, I don't know if I want all of my toddlers around. I don't know. There's always things you start kind of like thinking and preparing, and it's always a little bit funny because, as we already know, we are not in control of this, and we'll just kind of see what happens. And even though this is my 8th kid, I still somewhat try to think through this, even though I know very well that it never goes exactly as planned. For this next recipe, I am making up a bunch of meatballs. I am using some ground venison that we have. In this bowl, I'm mixing together some breadcrumbs and milk, Parmesan cheese, lots of fresh herbs, and some salt and pepper on my meat in. And then I'm going to form these into balls and then put them on a baking sheet to kind of partially freeze them. And then later on, I'll put them in a bag to put them in the freezer. And then we can make some noodles to make some pasta with this, or even just put them in a crock pot with some sauce to serve, you know, over some rice. I'm not really sure exactly what we'll use with these, but I know having these prepared will make several meals. I did 4 pounds of meat, and so this should hopefully be 2 separate meals for my family if we add some noodles or rice or something to go along with this. It is evening time and I'm getting back to my pizza crust. It's been fermenting all day. This was a recipe to make 4 separate pizza crusts. So I'm going to cut the dough and form them into balls and then just freeze them in a bag like this. Our family usually eats 4 pizzas at a time, so this will be 1 meal for us. And then, like I said, we'll just have to add some toppings to these. My meatballs also are mostly frozen, enough to where I can put them in a bag and they won't stick together. So I'm going to separate these into a couple of Ziplocs, just doing half in one and half in the other. So then when it's time to pull these out, we know that we have about 2 pounds of meatballs per bag to make a couple of different meals. The next meal I'm making is a sausage tortellini soup. I am doubling the recipe to make a big Dutch oven full. This should be 2 meals for my family, especially if I make some bread to go along with this, which I'm definitely planning on having bread made and in the freezer. And then also a big salad. Then usually when we do soup, we do salad and bread with it, so it stretches a little bit further. This is one of my family's favorite meals. They all love sausage tortellini soup. In fact, this is what we made for our special Christmas Eve dinner this year. And so I decided it would be a really good one to freeze. So I'm gonna make that. And then once it is completely cooled, I'll divide this into a couple of Ziploc bags, toss it in the freezer, and then on the day that we are planning on making this, set it out in the morning, let it defrost a little bit in the refrigerator, stick it right back in the Dutch oven and warm it up. And that will be a really delicious meal for our family. Thank you so much for watching, and I will keep you guys all posted. Hopefully I'll be sharing a birth story here somewhat soon, and we can find out if this little one is a boy or a girl.